when these other groups go into any area, it's not just about because they're going into Africa. When they come to America, if Indians go into France, if Russians in some type of group go into Italy, whatever, when there's that type of transfer of population, they look for accommodation. They look to be accommodated. Now, here's the thing. If they don't find accommodation, then they have the choice. They return home, or they recreate home, create their own system. Now, more often than not, you see them just recreating their own system.
They do.
And so,
like the Indian people over here, they got their own little community. And
right.
The Mexicans got their own little community, which is very successful, I may add.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
so, and here's the thing, because for instance, when I was in Ghana, one of the places that I went, it was like one of my favorite places to go. Now, I only learned about it because other people had told me, when you get to Ghana, go here. The dessert coffee shop was run by an Arab. Now, they had great food, desserts, pastries, and a lot of them were fruit-based. So I didn't even have to worry about like the health of of consuming too many carbs and all this other stuff. They did have a problem. Everything on the menu was not always available. Like, I went there one morning and I wanted a waffle. Yeah, that's carbs, but I wanted a waffle with bananas and berries. They didn't have the bananas. Instead of telling the workers, go to the customer and explain to them that we're out of bananas, they just sent it out without any fruit. I'm like, here's the problem, this is not to my liking, et cetera, et cetera. They go back to the manager comes out, oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't intentional, it's just that we don't have the bananas. And there's too many things going on. For instance, this started out as an example about accommodation, now it's turning into an example of poor customer service. This ain't Ghana, this isn't Ghana culture, this isn't Ghanaians, this is another foreigner who's here to do business. Talking to the manager, why I say it's an example of the accommodation factor. So he does all this explaining about how we don't have the bananas and we don't have this and that and the other. And as he's talking, there's street vendors walking past. Mm-hmm. And they're selling bananas. And they're selling mangoes. And they're selling, all these various fruits that are on his menu. This is why it's an example of the accommodation factor. Yeah. I'm like, hold up. I look up and notice there's a grocery store a block away. So after the fiasco, and I'm like, I'm not paying for this. Mm-hmm. So take it away. I don't want it. I'm not just, you have a good day. See y'all later. I leave. I walk down the street. I go into the grocery store. Bananas everywhere. Plantains everywhere, mangoes everywhere. Mm-hmm. I'm like, so this accommodation factor, he's so hell-bent on his accommodation factor of rebuilding his home network. Because he gave into this long-ass speech about it's so hard to maintain like the delivery schedule here in Ghana because so much stuff gets held up at the port. Now, this is true to some extent. I've heard plenty of people talking about that. This is true. But even if you have a preference for your own exports and imports as part of your business, even if you have a preference, should your preference come at the expense of not only your business, but the economy of the country itself? Because I'm like, okay, you just lost a sale. Not only did you lose a sale, it's more than one person in my party. You just lost multiple sales. The party that's with me is only coming back here if I bring them. You just lost multiple sales on multiple days because you only want the mangoes or the bananas that come from Arabia because you come from Arabia, that come from India because you come from India, that come from China because you come from China, when there's thousands of Ghanaian farmers with thousands, at any given time, you will see a Ghanaian, a stack of bananas. For the sake of customers, you're supposed to be making money. You let 5 or 6 banana sellers walk past you, we don't have any bananas. You got plenty. It's one thing for a group to come in and have the expectation of being accommodated to. It's another thing to have the expectation and to take it to the extent that you refuse to do any type of blending, working with, getting along to go along.
If you're in that country, you should feel some obligation to buy some of those bananas from those people, especially when you run out.
Exactly. Like I said, you can have the preference, I'd rather have but then you look up, my shipment is being delayed.
But your preference should be for your customers first. Because
exactly.
You don't have to buy a whole shipment of bananas from them if you're used to
He could have purchased one or two bananas on that day, and he would have saved. He would have maintained a sale for Monday, and had another sale, or had the potential of having another sale for Tuesday, for Wednesday, for Thursday. Because I'm here for a month and a half, and I already told the workers, this is about to be my new favorite place. Oh, you ain't got mangoes today? Oh, you ain't got bananas today? It still becomes funny to hear somebody say, as a group, whether it doesn't matter which group it is, whether it's an African group, an African American group, an Indian group, to hear them say when we get to a certain place, we have to be accommodated. It still rubs me the wrong way, and I don't know. But if I set aside me, okay, so let's just say you're right. Maybe it's my own hang up, and you do have to be accommodated. It's like, okay, now in what way, in what form?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It depends on how you look, how you want to be accommodated. If you want somebody that's running their business, and like he said, we party different, we wear our clothes different. You want a clothing store or a clothing seller to start getting in your style of clothes. Well,
see, to me,
if they want to get in there, then that's fine. But if they don't want to, you can't force them.
That's why I said it seems like it may sound okay or acceptable on the surface, but then when you go digging into the details, so if you say, well, I'm more used to a westernized clothing style, then you open up a business. You can't say, well, as part of we have to be accommodated, somebody gotta sell me Levi's. No, bring your Levi's with you.
But when I was going to VCU, the African population there, the students,
mm-hmm.
they did feel like they needed to be accommodated. They felt like they needed, like the schools didn't have this, didn't have that, and they had their little meetings to protest against it.
But there's a slight difference when you talk about general public versus a school, an academic institution. Only in the sense that, like, for one, the academic institution more than likely did some recruitment. They did some marketing, they went out there and they asked for you to come, as opposed to just simply coming on your own.
What is it about a lot of countries feel like the thing to do is get to an American university? What is it about that? Is the university so great, or is it just another thing of America pushing that culture all over the world?
It's both. I mean, America exports its culture, whether it's based in reality or not. America exports its image as its culture. So the image everywhere is gonna be, if you can get to America, everything gonna be on easy street. One way, shape, form, or another, either instantly or within a couple years, you're gonna make it. That's the image that America floats. So whether you're talking business, academics, or any other component of life, that's what America offers as the global key to success. Is I'm going back to, okay, if the group has the right to feel like they must be accommodated. Again, my question is, like in the other guy's video, he's specifically talking about partying. Maybe I just don't get it. Like, for me, I'm not leaving the U.S. to go to any other country so that I can go so that I can go party. So the expectation of, well, you got to accommodate me and my partying style doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
I don't think that's not a necessity.
But even then, if I pull it away and I use another example, okay, I want to relax. Now I can't go to another country and say you got to accommodate the way I want to relax. As you know what I'm saying, like so. For instance, if I say, well, I want to relax, so I want to lie out on the beach, and then I go to a country that ain't even got a beach, I can't make you accommodate me. You don't even have a beach. If you don't have the things that I feel are important, then I can't make you accommodate.
I think a lot of that is you can't force a country, any country, to accommodate you. You gotta blend in with what they have.
You have to go in with the flow.
What they have.
So like, if you go to a country and the idea, whether it's good or bad, if the idea is, we're not gonna start on time, you can like it or not. 9 o'clock is the suggestion. It's not the actual.
Do that too.
Well, I'm just saying, if that's the thing. And then you show up at 8:59 like I'm here ready to rock and roll, and ain't nobody showing up to 9:15. You're not gonna change that culture.
I just think that statement that he made. I mean, you can make an argument either way, but I think that a lot of that is based in arrogance. You cannot go to another country and expect them to fully accommodate your style of living when you're in their country. When they come over here, then they shouldn't be expecting.
Because again,
you just can't do that.
If you use, go ahead. If we use your example of the African students who come to the American college and then they want to protest because there isn't the accommodation for the things that they had in there. Well, okay, again, this is gonna sound stupid, but if as a group you go into another group and you're like, well, y'all don't have the food I'm used to. Well, even if they did, it's not gonna taste right.
Well, yeah, I mean,
y'all don't have the clothes that I'm used to. Even if they started making them, it ain't gonna look right because
I don't think any of that needs. I'm not even sure that they was asking for accommodation for those things, but I think maybe the necessities, like I go on healthcare, but even that you can't. A healthcare system is not going to change for you, so you still got to, whatever country you're in, you got to adopt their ways.
You have to adopt the ways of that. I hate the phrase.
If you don't like it, then you shouldn't be there.
I hate the phrase "when in Rome, do as the Romans."
Well, it's true.
But there's truth in that, and I'm like, I would sooner, if I was going to flip it, I'd rather flip it, because the principle seems to be true. So I'd rather flip it and say, "When in Benin, do as the Beninins do. When in Ghana, do as the Ghanaians do."
But that's just a play on
the
words.
Principle is the same. You can't turn a country around to accommodate you.
That's arrogant.
And the expectation of it.
That's arrogant.
But I think it goes on both feet. So that's why I'm like the statement that he made, I'm like, it bewilders me and it troubles me. But I'm like, and it's like, it's the expectation for one, and then the example of partying. And because you're westernized, where y'all should do things the way if you so gung-ho about leaving America, then stop trying to remake America when you get to somewhere else. But then at the same time, but every other group does it though. So it's like, who's the real, am I accurate? Am I right? Or am I wrong? For instance, Cubans come here and they build Little Havana. Chinese come here and they build Chinatown. Everybody, when they move from one place to another, they do recreate home.
It's no wrong or right about it. It's just using common sense. You can expect one thing, but what you expect and what you get is two different things. So if you're moving over to that, what that guy say, people going back to their home of return and all of that. If you going, you buddy, just get real with yourself and don't expect all of this stuff and expect to blend in. It ain't gonna happen. And if you expect that, then you're just gonna be moseying yourself right on back to your home, wherever that may be.
Mm-hmm.
Common sense. I mean, I just think it's arguments on both sides, but you got to put some common sense in it and know where to stop it. Ain't nobody gonna come over there. I mean, if you choose to come and you build that stuff and you have your own little community, then that's fine. But don't expect it. Don't
Right.
expect somebody to break down doors to do it.
Mm.
The Mexicans that come over here, they're not expecting people to break down doors. They open up their own doors.